tell me your name and where you went on your fellowship.
My name is Rachel Swick, and I teach in South Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I did my fellowship in Australia in July of 2010. The reason I went to Australia was to research animals and their natural habitat and learn about conservation efforts there so that I could come home and share that with my students. So I spent time in the outback and saw a lot of amazing animals like Euros and parrots and no snakes or spiders because they were hibernating. And I spent time in the Daintree rainforest where I saw endangered species like cassowaries and tree kangaroos. And of course lots of birds and lizards and other amazing things. And I spent time on the Great Barrier Reef snorkeling and seeing a shark and parrotfish and pufferfish and scorpionfish and every amazing beautiful coral. So that was really amazing. I said amazing a lot, I'm sorry. But it was. And then besides that, just got to see a lot of really interesting animals. I learned how to find a platypus in a muddy river. Some locals there taught me how to tromp through, they called it a paddock, and look out for snakes while I was doing it, and cross a little suspended bridge that was made out of 3 boards and walk quietly along a riverbank and wait for the platypus to come. And I even got to see those in the wild. So it was really incredible.
And what was the ripple effect of that fellowship in your classroom?
I have been teaching, I was heading into my 14th year when I came back from my fellowship and was so completely and totally re-energized and rejuvenated. Came home, couldn't wait to teach science, couldn't wait to show my kids all the pictures. I had also been blogging with my kids from Australia, so they were asking me questions while I was there and I was able to answer them, and then we talked a lot more in depth when I got home about those things. I was inspired to do a lot of art projects. I work with young children, so we did Aboriginal dot art sort of activities and all sorts of animal activities, and in social studies we did mapping things and looked at the globe and checked out Australia. Writing, the kids wrote animal reports about animals in Australia. We used technology to make a voice thread where the kids drew pictures and uploaded their reports in their own voices on the computer. So much. I can't even tell you. Turning our classroom into an environment. I guess one of the last biggest things was I spent a lot of time looking at literature actually done by Australian authors and illustrators, and brought a lot of that home and then actually pursued buying a lot of it once I got back home. So we also had a huge literature center where all our reading material was from Australia. So it was really great to hear the kids say, I'm going to read one of the books from Australia. It was excellent.
How did it change your teaching practice, Rachel?
I've always felt when you work with young kids, really any kids, when you integrate, learning makes sense. When you're transferring something you're doing in reading, and it makes sense in science, and it makes sense when you're talking about people, and the kids are actually reading materials at their level about that, it just makes sense. So integration was a huge part of the project for me, and we really carried the theme through for about a month, just doing all sorts of projects and things. So that was huge. The technology stuff I think was also really big, just being able to communicate with my kids and families at home while I was at school was really inspiring, to have their parents be just as interested to ask me questions as the kids were. So yeah, it did a ton for my school environment.
And what would you tell a teacher who's contemplating applying?
You have got to do it. I have said so many times, if you can dream it, you can do it. This program helps you to do that. So take the time, think about what relates to what you want to do in your classroom, and you can go on an adventure that will inspire you. For more than a year now, for me, I've been home just about a year, and I still think back on it and think, that is the best thing I ever did, and I can't wait to teach a new group of kids about that, and here's how I would change that, and sharing things with my colleagues and families. So I would just say, take the time and absolutely try. If you can dream it, Fun for Teachers will help you do it.